So you're just started your next Illuvium Gauntlet match, and you look on the bench right here and you have two of the yellow Defiance fragments ready to combine. But should you? Putting together two augment components without this guide will be like jumping off a cliff without a parachute. Landing on the ground will hurt, but not as much as when your elo drops to below 1000. It's absolutely soul crushing. I will judge these augments off of two key criteria. First, the mathematical value of them. For anyone who doesn't know, and I learned this off the man Slicks himself, every single augment grants stat boosts. Now, we're not going to be talking about legendary augments in these videos. They don't show stat boosts. We'll do that in another video later on. But with all the augments we're going to talk about, when you're combining the different components together, they have stat boosts on them. Not only that, but they tend to grant stat boosts in a variety of different ways from their effect as well. In this video, we're going to go over that as one of my main criteria. And the second main criteria is going to be the general consistency across different metas and synergies. For example, I think bulwarks and fighters will likely always be viable in the game. You generally need a front line and you generally need something that deals damage. Any sort of augment that improves defensiveness or offense is typically useful and will probably be good for many years to come. And that's why I will definitely focus on them as well as my second key criteria. Now, keep in mind that all of this could change from game to game depending on your strategy. Now, I recommend getting a coaching session from Slicks himself who will personalize some strategies according to your preference. This video might tell you that putting two purple augments together is the best possible move, but if you're playing air, that might not necessarily be the case. Go get a coaching session, practice lots, do whatever, if you want to really understand the game to that depth, to that level. In this video, we won't be covering that so much. The first thing I want to show you is there is a public gauntlet document. I believe Hype made it, but maybe it was Syndicate that made it. I'm not entirely sure, so I apologize. I'm assuming it's written somewhere. If we go to general info, nope, I got no idea. Okay. But they have this really neat augments tab, and you can see at the top here, it shows you the three different components I'm referring to. Right at the top left here, we have a Fury fragment, then a Defiance fragment, and an Apex fragment. Combine two Furies together and you get a Strike augment. Fury and Defiance to get a Brawler augment. Fury and Apex to get a Fusion augment. Two Defiances together will give you a Tank augment. And two Apexes together will give you an Energy augment. And Defiance and Apex together will give you a Support augment. So you don't need to remember that. I'll remind you constantly during the video. It is perfectly fine. Now, at the end of this video, because I'm putting them all on a tier list, we'll be able to easily see which combinations are the best when combining components because they will likely be clustered in different tiers. Maybe a lot of the Strike augments are placed in the S tier. Once we see at the end of the video, you will understand exactly how you should be going about playing Illuvium, and it will put you on top of 99% of players. I promise you that the minute I started thinking about these augments differently was the minute I started getting top 4 way more consistently. It will help you as well. Now, like and subscribe for more deep Illuvium guides, which you will need for future competitive airdrops as the competitive scene starts to heat up. Also, don't forget to use my referral code. I really appreciate the support. So let's get into the tier list. I will use the little guide thing to help me identify their abilities and things like that while we're going through the tier list. And then we will go from there. I'm just trying to figure out the best place to put it. I definitely want to put it in front of my face. It's fine. Okay. All right. So let's get started. The first one, we're starting pretty strong here. The first one is Chronoflux. So this is by combining two Fury augments together, and I have color-coded all of the augments on my tier list to help you with that. If it's hard red, then it's two of the red components together. If it's red and yellow, it's a red and yellow component together. This should make it really easy for you to identify what I'm talking about at any given time and if you should be going for it. So, Chronoflux grants 2% stacking attack speed every single time you attack. Very, very good, but there are some better augments, so I'm going to throw in an A here. Then we have the Prey Drive. Attacks deal 3% additional damage for every 5% of the target's missing health. Mathematically, this is pretty good. So, 3% additional damage for every 5% of the target's missing health. Which means, say, they've got 4,000 health, which is typical of like an Axodon or Caradulox. 4,000 health, 5% of that, if you've reduced, so 200 of that or so, I think is 5%. Then they deal 3% of that as additional damage, I believe. No, so they take 200 and then they do 3% additional damage for every missing. So if they're on half health, you're going to be 30% additional damage against them. This is very, very good. Wait, do I have that right? If they're at half health? If they're at half health, you times that by 10. Yes, 30% additional damage against them if they're at half health, which is really, really strong. You're getting a lot of value out of that pretty quickly. I'm actually going to throw Prey Drive up in S tier. So we'll see how this starts to shake out. The Rift Striker. Sorry, I forgot to look at the stats, so I better put this somewhere else then. I'm going to put this somewhere else. Okay, if I quickly take a look at stats. 2. What do these columns mean? Oh, frack. Not clear at all. Oh, okay. So I think the left column is attack damage. The middle is health. I'm not entirely sure. I have no idea who's written the stats in here, but they are very hard. Oh, okay, so they're basing it off the ability itself, which isn't really helpful at all. Okay. That's fine. All right, so we're not going to have all the stats, but I understand them decently well. So the next one I'm going to cover is Rift Striker. Now, from memory, it has insanely good stats. It does something like 40% additional attack damage, and then like 10% crit damage amp or something like that. But it pretty much just gives stats, but those stats are really, really good. So we're actually going to chuck Rift Striker all the way in S really, really quickly. It's going to be hard without me analyzing the stats on face value, but I'll try and do my best here. So Fury Heart. All right. So then I don't need that because those are useless. All right. Fury Heart also gives insanely good stats. I don't believe it's actually as good as Rift Striker, although it's still pretty decent. And some of the information in this thing is kind of lacking a bit, but it's going to take me like a million years to get all the information. It already took me like a million years to get all of this into a tier list. So we're going to keep going. Seismic Resonator. I'll go off vibes a little bit. So every 4 attacks deal additional 100 physical damage to enemies within a 20 hex around the target. Now, this, I believe, does have maybe a 1 second cooldown. Even if not, it's every 4 attacks. It is simply too slow. Like, how much value are we getting out of that, really? At maximum attack speed, you're getting maybe 2 or 3 attacks a second. And so maybe you're triggering this every 1 or 2 seconds, but it's only 100 additional damage. If you're getting 40% additional attack damage from some of these other augments, you're getting that 100 just on every single attack, which means that Seismic Resonator is doing absolutely nothing for you. I'm actually going to put it in F. Do not grab it. I don't think it's going to do a whole lot. Now, it's a little bit situational, but it's a bit way more niche than a lot of the other Fury components that you could definitely be getting. The next one is Shatter Point. Attack shatter the target for 5 seconds. You gain 25% attack speed for the first 25 seconds of combat. Shatter reduces their physical resistance. From memory, the stats aren't that good on this one. Shattering their physical resistance is pretty good, but you're only getting the attack speed for the first 5 seconds of combat, which you're absolutely getting jibbed there. You're getting, just don't bother taking it. I'm putting that down in C. Some people might complain about these, but I don't even care. Okay, Next up, we've got the Fate Sealer. Attacks inflict clumsy on the target for 5 seconds. On takedown, gain 8% attack speed. Clumsy disables the unit's ability to dodge. It's a pretty good stats from memory. I think gives them some defensive stats and things like that. I'm going to put that in B. Clumsy is good, but it's highly situational. You might really need it. Your main opponent might be going air, and you might need that for later on in the game. But if they're not, you're probably not getting that much value out of it. Vorpal Crest. Takedowns grant 4% attack damage and crit amp. Look, the attack damage ones seem kind of good on paper, but they're really hard to pull off, and they're highly situational, and it's simply not giving you good enough stats for that to benefit you anyways. After that, we have the Titan Bane. Deal an additional 1% of the target's max health as pure damage. So if you're talking a big tank here with 4,000 HP, 1% of that max health is what, 40 damage? It's not 400. No, 400 is 10%. It's 40 damage as pure damage. I don't think that's necessarily that good. Some of these other things that give you 100 additional damage, and then accounting for resistances, you're probably getting halved down to 50. So I don't think the 40 pure damage is helping you that much. And it's really only against big tanks, which you really don't want your fighters attacking the tanks anyway. So I'm actually going to put that down in F. I don't think it's giving you that much value. Umbral Stride. On Vanquish, blink to the lowest health enemy. Gain the next attack as 75% increased damage. On paper, it doesn't seem like that would do that much. In the early game, extremely valuable. And the value you get from that is really scales into late game because you're getting all the win gold. You're getting all of the winning streak gold. Umbral Stride is maybe the best augment in the game. But we'll see if there's others that are even better. Okay, Umbral Stride, putting at the top of S. Whenever you get this thing, it's absolutely mental, gives you such a huge advantage earlier on in the game. Okay, let's move on to the Brawler Augments, where you combine a Fury and a Defiance Augment together. First up, let's do Phoenix Surge. At 40% health, gain 30% max health shield and 20% attack damage. I believe this one also comes with 20% attack damage on its own as well. What you need to know is this thing is really, really good. Okay, you're getting 30% max health shield, big value there, especially on a big tanky like a Jotun or something, and you're getting huge attack damage from that and attack damage from the augment itself. Very, very good all the way around. Then we have Phage Fire. Enemies within 20 hex radians are burned and poisoned. Burn reduces the healing received, which is quite valuable in the meta at the moment and probably permanently. Poison deals 1% of their max health as pure damage per second. We had an augment before that was just giving that. And now we're getting this burn, and you're getting a bunch of other like health, HP, and resistance stats and things like that. From memory, this one's really, really good. I'm not going to put it in S. I'm going to put it in A. But it's very helpful, especially on your tanks. But really, I'm going to lean towards the offensive augments a little bit harder in this video. That's what I tend to prefer. Bloodroot Charm gives you 10% Omnivamp, and you get attack speed and resistance equal to 50% of Omnivamp. If you're scaling into an Omnivamp comp, great. If you're not, we're going in C. It's not versatile enough. It's a little bit lackluster. Entropy Sigil, holders attack steal 3% energy from the target. It's a little bit situational. You really need to put it on the right alluvial. I think Phosphorus would probably do okay. Some big casters maybe would benefit from this. Or something that's highly disruptive. A highly disruptive rogue disrupting scions can be really beneficial. But like 3% is just not that high. After that, we have the Mendo Skeleton. On takedown, the holder heals for 5% of max health and gains 5 resistance. 5% is simply not enough. We're putting that down in F. And then we have Ion Shroud. At 50% health, cleanse and become untargetable for 2 seconds. Cleanse, remove all negative effects. You cannot be targeted. From memory, this has a bunch of other benefits here where it actually gives you like this insane level of, how do I put this? These insane stats come with it, and that just makes it worthwhile from the get-go. I'm going to put it at the top of A. I don't love its effect, but the stats really, really make up for it. Next up, we have the Cryonic Talisman. So I'm working off memory a little bit for the stats here. If you see good stats, then ignore what I've said right here for this particular one, but this should give you a pretty good idea. So next up, we have the Cryonic Talisman. Closest enemies inflicted with Frost, which reduces the target attack speed by 25%. Only affects one enemy. I don't think it's that good. Frost is decent, but you'd rather just get a Frost composition with Frost Alluvials. I'm actually going to put it low, highish C. I don't think it's that good. I And then we've got the Crisis module at 20% health gain, 25% max health shield. Very, very good. And 10% damage amp for a few seconds. Not only that, but you're going to get all of the stats and things that come with this thing. Crisis module is very good for your team. Goliath Force gain 1% of max health as physical attack damage. Simply not enough. From memory in the game, it's actually higher than this. I think this document's a bit outdated. I'm going to put it high B. I remember Goliath Force being pretty good. Maybe it'll be low B. I don't think it's the stats. I think the stats were decent. I can't quite remember. You might have a better idea. Sit down, steal 35% resistance from the closest enemy. You'd be surprised how good this is. Like, it'll help you break through a Colossus about 10 times faster than you would otherwise, and make you impervious to damage while you're doing so. Sit down is a very good augment. It's not top tier, but I'm going to put it low A there. It's very, very good. So Fury plus Apex, red and purple, gives you the Fusion Hybrid Augment. So if you have an attack damage alluvial that also likes to use a mega power, then these are the augments for you. However, that's not very versatile. There's maybe 2 alluvials that benefit from this a lot. Many benefit from it a little bit, but there are only 2 or 3 that really benefit a lot. That is Scoriox, Phosphorus. Clearly, they're the Scion fighters. And then things like Riplance benefit a bit, and even like a Fur Knight and stuff. Like some of the really best alluvials in the game, so that kind of is a redeeming factor, but it's a little bit tricky. So with the Power Diverter, on a Mega, the holder gains 7% of a Mega Power as attack speed. It's not bad. You really need to put it on the right alluvial. That's the hard part. And really, you want consistency from these augments because you want to outpace and get better averages than your opponents. That's what Slicks likes to say, at least. Power Diverter at bottom B is probably fine. Then we have the Sunder Matrix, where every 3 attacks gain 3% piercing, up to 15 stacks, and steals a mega power and attack damage. I don't know this one that well. I'm going to assume it's like decent. Every 3 attacks, you get 3% piercing. That sounds awful. Up to 15 stacks, that's fine. Steals % of a mega power and attack damage. That sounds pretty good, but I don't think this is that good. I could be crazy on that one. Okay. Next up, we have the Shield Bane. After hitting a shield, do 30% more damage for 4 seconds. Honestly, I think shields are going to get buffed soon, and they're going to be pretty decent for all eternity. This kind of meant like it's very situational. If you're not hitting a shield, you're getting literally like 0 value. I think you've got some like half decent stats, but they're not that good. And so like you're playing a high risk going for an augment like that, but in a lot of circumstances, I'm sure it can be good. If empaths are ever good in the meta, I definitely think that will be a really key augment to grab and way more valuable. So next we've got Critical Surge with critical attacks grant 3 and mega power. That was always pretty decent in the past. But like rogues really aren't in the meta right now, and it's highly dependent on rogues being good. And like that's really hard to predict. So I'm going to put it high C because if rogues are good, it's very, very good. Next up, we've got Battleborn Pact. Combat start. The closest ally gains 10% of the holder's attack damage. Gain 10% of a mega power as attack speed. That is actually quite a bit of attack speed. If you get 10% of, say, 200 mega power, you get 20% attack speed. You also, the closest ally also gets 10% of the holder's attack damage, which isn't that bad at all. Overall, decent stats going to your team. And I think it's got some decent stats to come with it as well. I'm pretty sure this is like a mid-A here. Then we've got the Plasma Catalyst, where the holder gains 20% of physical damage as energy damage. Highly situational, low B though, because you can definitely see some use, and it's got some really good stats that come with it from memory. After that, we've got Primeval Force. Thankfully, I actually remember the ability from this one. After 20 seconds, you get something like 35% max health and like 30% attack damage. The weird thing with this is, like, it's hard to hit the 20 seconds threshold for it to begin with, after which it does make your alluvial quite good. I believe it actually gives you damage reduction too. Makes your alluvial really, really good. But honestly, if you're not in like a winning or a position by the 20-second mark, then you're probably going to lose either way, because this thing's going to be 1v5ing, and maybe it can, but that's highly situational. I'm actually going to put that low C for Primeval Force. I don't rate it. Some people love to use it, but it's like way too high risk for not enough reward. So then we have Veil Piercer, where attacks grant the holder 2 mega power up to 15 stacks. after 10 seconds, gain True Sight. Now, the True Sight benefit here and the stats that comes with it and stuff are all really good. Now, attacks granting 2 Omega Power after 15 stacks. That's 30 Omega Power total. Not that good compared to some of the stats you're going to get from these other augments. However, the True Sight really does a big value add here. I'm actually going to put it low A. I'm just going to put them in general spots here, okay? I'm actually going to group them by color so that it's easy to assess later on. And we're not going to worry about if they're high or low in that different tier. That's going to be easier for us to manage. Okay. So next we have Barrier. Reverb. Attacks deal an additional 50 damage to the shield. After healing the shield, deal 50 pure damage around the target with a 1-second cooldown. Not bad at all. Again, highly situational. I quite like it though. I'm going to put it in B. From memory, it has pretty good stats that come with it. And Crimson Vow at 60% health, gain 25% attack damage and Omega Power. Along with the stats it gets naturally, which means it's getting some of the best stats given to it in the game. We're going to put it up in S tier just for that alone. From memory, I've actually got a doc. Slicks talked to me about some of the best and worst augments. If I'm ever really unsure about something, I will actually refer to that doc, and that will help me assess. Okay. There we go. That's going to help me. Okay. So next we move on to the double yellow augments. Defiance plus Defiance, the tanky augments. First up, we've got Overguard. Combat start, gain 15% max health shield for 6 seconds. Not bad for a tank, but only for a tank. When the shield expires, gain 15 resistances, which is a little bit underrated. I think Overguard is actually quite good. I'm actually going to put it up at a low A here. Well, in A in general. We're not doing lower highs anymore. Next up, we've got Lifewell. I don't mind Lifewell. It heals 3% of your max health every 4 seconds. It's just not enough healing. Things like an Adorius or a Geyser or all the drone augments and things, they're healing you way more than this thing is. I think it's highly situational. If you've got like 5 bulwarks and that's what you're going, yes. But it's too situational to put high up on the list. So I'm actually going to throw it. I'm going to throw it down an F. I really don't rate it. Then we have Guardian's Grid. Every 8 seconds in combat start, apply shield to the holder and the lowest percent health ally for 100% of the holder's combined resistances. If you have this on a Colossus or even a 5 Bulwark squad, that is a lot. Like, you could have 150 of each resistance, 300 combined resistances. You're getting 100% of that. So you're giving 300 shield at the start of the game and every 8 seconds to 2 Illuvials. That's about 1,000 in shielding every 8 seconds, which is actually really, really good. I actually really like this one. What's it called again? Guardian's Grid. Yeah, I think it's quite a good augment. I'm going to put it in B right there. I don't know if it's better than or worse than Overguard. You know what? I'm actually going to keep it in A with Overguard. It's actually really, really good. So after that, we have Emberheart. Every 4 seconds, heal for 5% of missing health and burn the nearest enemy, which reduces healing received. Like every 4 seconds, 5% of missing health, 5% of max health might have been really, really good. Missing health is just not cutting it there. I'm actually going to put that at the very bottom here. After that, we've got Rift Breaker. Shatter enemies within 25 radius, which reduces the target's physical resistance by 25. Before, we had a Shatter item, but it was only being applied to one opponent. Shattering things in AoE is so much better. So much better, okay? I'm actually going to put this in B because that is actually really useful. It gets you so much more damage. Think about it. If you're shattering 4 enemies, you get 25% boost in damage on every single one of them, and like ultimately you're giving 25% boost in physical damage to your entire team of fighters. Say you have 3 or 4 fighters, they're all getting a 25% boost. That's 100% overall damage boost to your team. Or no, it's 25% overall damage boost to your team. That's a lot of damage increase. Very, very good augment, but not as good as some of these other ones for sure. After that, we've got Counter Shock. When enemies use their Omega, they dealt 100% of their energy cost as Omega damage. As energy damage. Really, you're not doing that much damage. Like when you think about it, your Dualef maybe has 250 energy. And then so he'd take 250 damage every time he uses his Omega, but he maybe cast twice a game, so you're doing 500 damage to him by default, but you need to get that damage done earlier rather than later, otherwise you're not really benefiting from it so much. So I don't think Counter Shock is that good. It kind of looks good on paper, but it's not that good. I'm putting it down in F tier here. After that, we have Corrode enemies within 20 radius from Abyss Rot, where it reduces their energy resistance by 25%. Highly situational. I'm actually going to put it in B. No, yeah, I'm going to put it in B because if you're Scion team, it's kind of highly necessary. And if you don't, it doesn't really do much, but it is pretty good overall. Everyone has an Omega power, has an Omega to use at some point, which tends to do energy damage. So it's pretty valuable, but it's not that good. After that, we've got Adaptive Carapace. Gain 10 physical and energy resistance for each enemy targeting the holder. I love this augment. I don't know if everyone's going to rate it, but you're getting a lot of resistance. It also has a bunch of base resistances it gives to you as well. So you're getting 50, 60 resistance by default on one of your big front tanks. Now, it's a little bit situational, so maybe I should put it in A, but I really like it as an augment. After that, we've got Titan Boon, one of the, a really like a solid augment. It gives you 6% extra max health, but it also gives you some pretty good stats. Honestly, I'm going to put it in C here. I don't remember it being that good, but it's pretty solid. And after that, we have Vengeful Mantle. When struck by an attack, deal 100 physical damage to enemies within 20 hex radius, which is quite good. And it can do a lot of damage to your opponents. The big thing with Vengeful Mantle is in the early game, it's like instant win, right? In the later game, it's not doing as much for you. But sometimes that's really important because it gives you the win streak, gives you the winning gold and things like that. So sometimes you want to put it in. Early. Okay. After that, we get to the support augments, Defiance plus Apex, so yellow and purple. First up, we have a one and only Duskfall. When an ally or the holder is vanquished, all enemies lose 25% attack damage and a mega power for 5 seconds. Seems good on paper. 5 seconds is not enough. Instant F right there. Okay. From memory, I think Slicks hated these ones. Okay. After that, we've got Empyrean Core. Combat start. Grant 5 Omega power, 20 energy, and 100 shield to the 3 closest allies. It seems decent. 20 energy is not enough. 5 Omega power is basically nothing. And 100 shield is basically nothing. This is probably also F. This is really, really bad. After that, we've got Hollow Repressor. The 2 closest enemies have their healing, energy, shield, and shielding efficiency reduced by 20%. Wide reaching across the board, actually quite good. It's probably not S tier, and it's a little bit targeted and a little bit situational. But overall, you're actually going to get a lot out of this as far as support augments go. After that, we've got the Immunity Prism. Combat start, become immune for 15 seconds. During this effect, the highest attack speed ally gains 2% Omega power per second. That's 30% Omega power. That's pretty good. And you become immune. That's not bad at all. I'm actually going to put that in A. I don't mind that at all. Okay. Then we have the Safeguard Protocol. Combat start. Holders allies gain 200 shield for 10 seconds. 10 seconds is not enough. You could lose a lot of value from this. It's a little bit hard to justify. 200 shield is pretty good for your front line and things like that. I don't hate it, but I'm probably going to put it in C over here. After that, we've got Etherlock, where the 2 highest energy enemies have their energy cost increased by 20%. Seems good on paper. Really, enemies are only trying to cast maybe 2-3 times in a match to win, and 20% is not going to alter them from that. I'm actually going to put it, I'll keep it in C. It's definitely not an F tier augment. After that, we've got the Steadfast Pulse. Every 4 seconds, the holder and allies within 20 hexes gain 3 Grit and Resolve, which is not enough Grit and Resolve for getting it every 20 seconds, straight into F tier. After that, we've got Ether Surge. Holders allies gain 25% healing efficiency after 10 seconds. The holder gains double the amount. Now, 25% healing efficiency for your entire board is not bad. And then the holder gaining even more. I don't honestly know how to feel about Ether Surge. I'm probably going to put it in B there. Where we've got Flow Equalizer. On Omega, enemies lose 8 energy and holders gain 8 energy. 8 is just not enough energy. You're only casting, like, sure, you can put on like a Rip Lance, but you want to put your damaging augments on your Rip Lance, on your Phosphorus. You don't want to put things like this. It's not that helpful. And so it's going in F tier. Okay, after that, last but not least, we have Vanquish's Barrier. On takedown, grant 150 shield and 20% attack speed to the lowest percent ally for a couple of seconds. I don't hate it, but I don't think it's that good. Last but not least, we have Apex, which is energy plus energy, which is basically the hard Omega augments. Okay. So, let me just check my thing here. First up, we've got Mindstorm. Combat start, gain 5 energy regen for 5 seconds. Afterwards, gain 15 Omega power. 15 is really good because you're stacking on top of the Omega power it naturally gives you, and you're getting 30-40 Omega power for free after 5 seconds, which makes this a really, really good augment. I'm actually going to throw it in S tier there. After that, we have Echo Jammer. Every 5 seconds, the next attack deals 100 energy damage and silences the target for 1 second. Every 5 seconds, an additional 100. Like, you got to compare this stuff to the other things we had. Like, one of these other ones was just 40% attack damage, right? Say you attack in that 5 seconds, say you attack 6 or 7 times, and you get 40% boost in attack damage, which could be like 50 extra attack damage. 6 times, you're getting 300 damage. This one right here is the next attack after 5 seconds deals 100 energy damage. It silences them, sure, but that's only for 1 second. It's simply not that good. I'm going to put it, it could go in B or C. I'm probably going to put it in B there. It's just not that good. After that, we have Arcane Accelerator. Gain 10 Omega power every 5 seconds. Really hard to say how good that is. I think it's pretty decent. You're getting it fast enough, and from memory, I think it might actually give you 10 Omega power at the start as well, and then the stats it has as well. After 15 seconds, it's 30 Omega power, which is pretty reasonable. Stack that with things like Invoker and stuff like that, and you could basically one-shot them on your second cast. You kind of got to think about how it times up. If you're casting twice within 10 seconds and then dying, you're not getting much value. If you're casting your second time after 15 seconds and you're staying alive for long enough, very, very good. I don't know if it's S. I think I am actually going to put it in S tier. Okay. After that, we have Spellweaver's Aegis. Gain 25% max health shield for 7 seconds. When the shield expires, gain 20 Omega power. Now, after 7 seconds, you get 20 Omega power. On top of 20 or so Omega power, I think you get from the item itself. Straight into S tier. That's a lot of Omega power getting right at the start of the battle. Insane good value on your big Omega power casters. After that, we have the Infurion. On Omega, gain 1 stacking energy regen and 10% attack speed for a few seconds. That is not that good. I don't know why anyone would want to use that. That sounds awful. Based on what I just read there, I'm putting it an F. That sounds awful. Okay, so after that, we have Essence Siphon. Attacks grant 4 additional energy. It's kind of hard for me to like assess how good or bad that actually is without seeing the Illuvulets on. But like Scoriox attacks really, really fast. Most Illuvulets attack pretty quickly. You're talking like at least 1 attack a second. Additional 4 energy. If you think about like water synergy at max, is giving you like 5 energy a second. And you're getting more than that from Essence Siphon on its own. I don't think it's going in the S tier, but I'm definitely going to put it in A. It's quite solid, and it's got some good stats to go with it as well. After that, we've got the Blaze Wrath. Gain 10% Omega damage. Holders Omegas burn the target for 5 seconds. Reduces healing by 25% when you burn them, obviously. So 10% Omega damage, and the Omega burns them. Like, I don't hate it, but you only burn them for 5 seconds, and it's only your Omega that burns them, like not your auto attacks. And so I think it's okay, but it's probably going to go in B there. After that, we've got the Apex Supercharger, which from memory gives you really, really good stats, or moderately good stats. I'm actually going to put it in A there because I can't remember its stats. I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt here. After that, we've got Aether Steel on Omega. Steal 6 Omega power from the highest Omega power energy. What? That sounds good on paper. Oh, but you only get it after you Omega. 6 is not enough to steal for on Omega. That's probably going to go in F, to be honest. And last but not least, we have the Corroder. The Corroder attacks corrode the target and all enemies within 15 hex radius for 5 seconds. It corrodes them within a 15 hex radius, which is actually really, really good. And I mean, you're already an energy attacker. The problem is you don't necessarily want to stack this on your biggest damage dealer, but really you're only stacking it on your Fisto and your Dualev, and then maybe you chuck something like this on like a Sea Forest or something like that, and it's attacking them. So here we get to the end of the tier list. What is the best combination to get? Clearly, putting 2 of the same thing together is really, really good. You can see the reds, the purples, and 2 yellows are really dominating the S tier in the list here. But we can also see that the Brawler tiers, the red and yellow together, are doing really, really well in A tier as well. And they've even got 1 in S tier. So overall, they're probably even more consistent. So our red augment component is really, really good all around. Red and yellow together, fantastic. 2 yellows together, pretty solid. We've got 2 in S and 2 in A, but they're really all over the shop, and you just got to hope you get some of the better ones. And I have had times where I've gotten like really bad ones just all around with going 2 yellows together. So it's a little bit risky. 2 reds, you can't really go wrong. Red and yellow, you really can't go wrong. They're all right at the top there. 2 purple, you're pretty decent. I'm pretty happy with most of them. They're not as good as the other ones. Red and purple aren't too bad, but they're kind of middle of the ground. If you have to, definitely worth doing it. But purple and yellow have so many down the bottom here. Just do not bother getting those support augments until they get buffed or changed significantly. They are absolutely garbage. Don't forget to check out my Gauntlet Beginner's Guide and more advanced guides coming soon, so don't forget to subscribe. I hope you learned something today. Have a good one.